Hey you guys, I just wanted to share with you something real quick about an interview I saw with Tony Fauci. I think this is a 2014 interview. I'll leave the link for you. This is from the JCI, the Journal of Clinical Investigation, and I'll leave you some information, the link on that. And I just wanted to share with you a couple things I found interesting, what Fauci said. So bear with me while I...
Cornell was a phenomenal place. I mean, the spirit and the atmosphere, the collegiality really created a very warm feeling about medicine in general. I think it's one of the greatest places you can imagine. I was heavily steeped in wanting to be a physician. I loved clinical medicine. I loved taking care of patients. The sicker, the better.
So that's great. The sicker, the better. That's wonderful, Tony. Good to hear it. Okay, but he's not done here, so...
The attraction still remains.
What was it that made you choose to study infectious disease? Because your early research, as you just said, was much more on rheumatology and immunoregulation.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do infectious disease for two reasons. One, as a clinical person, my personality profile is that, I'm sort of on the borderline of wanting to be a surgeon. I wanted something that was clear-cut, identify it, do something about it. I wanted something that could make you very sick and kill you unless I intervened, and if I intervened, you're essentially cured. Now,
talk about a narcissist playing with a God complex. God, Tony. All right. So I also looked at this, the JCI, the Journal of Clinical Investigation, because they also interviewed lots of other doctors who came from Oxford University, Stanford, Harvard. I just found everywhere these doctors came from, I found quite interesting. So they have these names here, these doctors' names that, like Stanford University. There's a neurobiologist, Carla Schatz, director of Stanford University, BioX. Here JCI interviews this giant in medicine from the Rockefeller University. And they interview this Charles Sawyers from Memorial Sloan Kettering, which Sloan Kettering, Dr. Ralph Moss talks about Sloan Kettering and how they covered up the Trilateral studies and the success that the bitter almond, the apricot kernels, that this Dr. Seguria found. They covered his findings up that Trilateral actually stopped pain and also stopped the cancer from spreading. So these are the kind of doctors that we're looking to for our mass opinions, right? So in this, they talk about conversation with Tony Fauci. So when you look at the JCI conversations with giants in medicine, look what that can equal. Corona injecting mist devices hasten IT win. If anyone doesn't know what the IT is, look at the word. You gotta look at the times. We're gonna go look at the U.S. Senate Committee Health hearings that they had a day or two ago. But again, remember this: the Corona injecting mist devices hasten IT win. Just want you to remember that. And remember when Fauci stated, the sicker the better, and for me it's electrifying place, and he wants something that makes you very sick and can kill you unless he intervenes. And before I go into that Senate hearing, the health thing that they did, I want you to look at this. I'm going to give you the link. Once this video is downloaded, I'll put the links in here. you've got to listen to this guy, Patrick Wood. Talks about the Trilateral Commission and Technocracy. And once you watch this and listen to this, it's so important, you guys, but it'll kind of wrap everything up as to why they feel so compelled to track and trace everyone. And it's this guy explains it very well. So he talks about the technocratic era.
It is a controlled society dominated and managed by an elite. Congress would be made irrelevant, and if it were possible, would be disbanded, because the technocrats, or the technocratic managers, if you will, hold a very dim view of politicians that pretend to know what they're talking about with technology and yet make the wrong decisions routinely, mismanage situations, and to the great economic harm of the multinational corporations in many cases. So they would gladly do away, if they could somehow, with the political process that often impedes them. And then the global banks and multinational corporations are really the primary actors and planners of economic life in this new international economic order. And the global banks and multinational corporations are really the primary actors and planners of economic life in this new international economic order. And if you're not picking this up already, this is taken directly from Brzezinski's book, the concepts and ideas in his book. Continuous surveillance over every citizen is an important part of the new international economic order. This is the total surveillance society. And this is part and parcel of the technotronic era. And lastly, we must have files containing all personal information for instant retrieval. The new international economic order is not exactly what we expected in the 1970s. And I'm going to relate to you now a little bit more that's been discovered since then that helps to make sense, of all of this. And that is the concept of technocracy, what will be one day probably your data in the system in order to survive. And this data, of course, when combined with all the rest of the data being collected on you, will provide a very complete and thorough profile on every American citizen.
Okay, so I'm going to leave that link so you can listen to Patrick Wood, but he talks about the Trilateral Commission, and when I looked into that, it's to criminalize la storm, or to criminalize mortals. That's what they're doing to us. They're criminalizing us. Even though we're healthy, they want to track and trace and test us. So anyhow, we're going to look a little bit into this meeting. Oh yeah, and it's the Total Surveillance Society. So, and this is the, that's the address to Patrick Wood, archive.org/details/the Trilateral Commission and Technocracy, if you want to go see that. But it's all about the surveillance. So here's the hearing entitled COVID-19, an update on the federal response.
The Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions will please come to order. First, I'd like to welcome everyone and go through some administrative things. We've taken the advice of...
Okay, seriously. Did you all just see that? Did they make that guy walk on his knees like that? Was that intentional? What is going on? Let's see if we can find that again. That was funny.
Although you're free to if you want to. I wear my mask when I'm outside of this room, according to the recommendation of all four of the witnesses who are here today. I'm grateful to the Rules Committee.
Okay, now really, do you guys think that this is intentional? Look at this. Get on your knees.
On Health, Education, Labor, and
Look at
Pensions
that guy.
will please come to
Look at that guy.
order. First, I'd like to welcome everyone and go through some
Jeez, really?
things.
Come on. Now remember also, you guys, Fauci, he came, his whole family, his family was like, they ran a pharmacy, and he delivered drugs to people's doorsteps when he was little. I mean, he's been pushing drugs for a long, long time. So a lot of this stuff is based on the pharmaceutical agenda. Nothing natural about healing with using pharmaceuticals, I can tell you that. But let's listen to a little bit of, I guess, their plans that they've got.
And determine whether the vaccine is safe and it works. Even Dr. Stephen Hahn, the commissioner of the FDA, who is testifying today, does not know when that date will be, because the FDA will not approve a vaccine until 3 things happen.
Oh yeah, also let you know the other props, not just his little mask on the desk, but the people in the background of all the speakers, they all have their little bondage mask on too. And look at, they all have their little bottles of water. Here we go.
1, independent experts overseeing clinical trials determine there's enough data available to the FDA to make a decision. 2, after demonstrating safety and efficacy based on clinical trials, the vaccine manufacturer submits an application to the FDA. And then 3, FDA experts conduct their review and make the final determination the vaccine is safe and that it works. Now, as to treatments, the second unprecedented story of the United States response to COVID-19 is the development of treatments. There are 5 products authorized for emergency use today to help treat and manage COVID-19.
Oh, funny too. Look at 5 treatments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just saying.
Symptoms, including remdesivir, certain steroids, blood thinner, convalescent plasma. Operation Warp Speed officials are optimistic, they say.
Okay, so here I wanted to show you this. Operation Warp Speed. Remember he said that? So Operation Warp Speed. They add pepperoni towers. Goes with that pizza. Enterprise APOP WOD, like a population. And WOD is Asp of Jerusalem. And asp is a venomous snake. So I'm just saying. And then American Tower is New Crematoria. Operation Warp Speed is a pepperoni tower. I just thought that was kind of funny. Okay, and we'll get down to this clock thing. I'm going to have to hurry up and look at that. Remember, they've had this planned for a long time, you guys. Just keep that in mind.
As I said earlier, 4 of the first 6 vaccines are being manufactured in facilities built in 2012 for this purpose,
Wow. See, they've planned this. So they're even planning for another pandemic. Of course, how do they know the future?
unprecedented sprint towards success in vaccines, treatments, and tests.
Wow, is that like Sprint, like the cell phone company?
Now, finally, I'd like for this Congress to be visionary as well. And while we're in the midst of this pandemic, to be ready, help get ready for the next one. Former Senator Frist, the majority leader, testified before this committee that the next pandemic is not a question of if, but when.
Wow. Okay. So how do you know the future unless you're the one creating it?
And then there's been federal support over the years for state, local, and hospital preparedness, $21 billion between 2002 and 2017. CDC has used existing programs to help states retrain workforces, expand lab capacity, planning for a future pandemic from pandemics during the last several years. And even with supercomputing.
Yeah, supercomputing. Supercomputing equals upcoming erupts, which they're creating. Okay, I want you all to listen to this too. Sorry about the skipping around. I just have to turn off my camera and find my spot and blah, blah, blah. So sorry about that, but listen to this.
On Friday, CDC quietly updated another guidance, identifying aerosols as common route of transmission of the virus that causes COVID-19. Yet on Monday,
That's weird, huh? She said aerosols. Let's back that up. Listen one more time. Okay, here she goes.
2 seconds. On Friday, CDC quietly updated another guidance, identifying aerosols as common route of transmission of the virus that causes COVID-19. Yet on Monday, CDC reversed course. Dr. Redfield, you told me the earlier guidance had been posted in error, but especially given the Trump administration's track record, the reversal raises significant red flags. So here is my question.
So remember the JCI conversations with giants in medicine? Corona injecting missed devices, hasten IT win. Remember that? I just had to remind you all what COVID-19 really means. Just so the Trilateral Commission can track, trace everybody back to work. Now this is Senator Bob Casey doing a little showboating here. Remember, they're all actors, you guys. So he's going to throw in a little drama into the scene here.
In developing and then distributing and administering a safe and effective vaccine is public confidence. As a way to demonstrate faith in the integrity of both the approval process and to assure the American public that vaccines are safe, I would ask the other three members of our panel if they will commit to receiving the COVID-19 vaccine in public view once one becomes available and is authorized or approved by FDA.
Now, so, I mean, how do we know what's in that vaccine? And are you going to wait for a couple years after these people take it to see if there's any side effects? Because you're not going to get a response or a negative response right off the bat unless they just faint, but that's probably just from the needle. So what a stupid question, because who knows what's in that vaccine? But anyhow, that's just more of your actors showboating and your little cast of characters there, creating drama. Don't fall for it. I had no idea it was still running. Let's see if I can figure this out.
Of this disease,
So look at this.
COVID-19 disease, in the context of nursing homes. I released yesterday with Senator Wyden a report. I'll just hold up the cover of it.
Okay, look at that. The cost of inaction, 11 deaths an hour. And then look at the clock. See the little ticky-tock clock? Remember the tick-tock that Q is always talking about? Tick-tock, tick-tock. The cost of inaction, 11 deaths an hour, and the whole time. We haven't gotten into that, but I messed up on this videotaping, so I might not get into it.
But the headline on the report is the cost of inaction, 11 deaths an hour.
Okay, look how dramatic he is. Wow. Okay, so look at the clock. Tick-tock. Oh yeah, the media electronics. I'll have to get to that. So telecommunications is a communist election. Information technology is infection harm ontology. So look, ontology is the philosophical study of being. Just being. So information technology, infection harm ontology. My camera's messed up. Anyhow, so Senator Bob Casey shows us this little TikTok thing, and the cost of inaction, 11. Let's go down here. Oh shoot, hang on. So the cost of inaction, 11 deaths an hour, can equal or mean COVID-19, a healthcare's hotfoot son or son. Like, these guys are so hell-bent to hurry this thing along. So that's their little baby. They want to get their little vaccines running out. So COVID-19, a healthcare's hotfoot son. Hotfoot is just to hurry it up. Son, so COVID-19, the vaccines that they want to push is their baby. Gosh, why isn't this focusing? Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, you guys. Anyhow, I messed up on this video, so I might not even post this, but here's your Fauci. For me, it's electrifying place. It just doesn't stop. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I might need to edit this, cut out those minutes I left you guys just hanging. But anyhow, the main thing, conversations with giants in medicine, Cronut injecting missed devices, hasten IT win. If you look into IT, you'll see China already has that enacted, and my camera is not wanting to focus, so I'm going to call it here, you guys. But I'll talk to you later.